Hello and welcome to Dailycricket presents Cricktalk with Mohammed Isam, ESPN Crickinfo's Bangladesh correspondent, and with me is Atif Azam, Crickbuzz's Bangladesh correspondent. Hello Atif bhai.
Hello Isam, how are you?
Good. I'll just share the top news of the week first, and then of the last month, and then we'll get into the show. Bangladesh has done history in Pakistan earlier this month when they beat Pakistan 2-0 in Pakistan. It is their second overseas test series win, a massive moment for Bangladesh. They are already off to India to play a test series and a T20 series in the coming weeks. And at the same time, we have another topic to discuss, which is the Bangladesh Cricket Board, which has gone through some significant changes. I'll start off with Atif bhai. Atif bhai, how was the last 4 weeks for you?
Absolutely, it was quite a journey for Bangladesh Cricket Board. The president got changed, new president got elected. Several board members did not come up. Few of them come up and later they resigned, like Khaled Mahmood, and some of them are expected to resign in the coming days. So it was a hectic Bangladesh Cricket Board who are trying to recuperate again. But I think that the journey started now for Farooq Bhai. He came in a manner, it was not surprising because his name was up there for a week or so before he was eventually handed over the responsibility. But the thing is that Farooq Bhai has a lot of challenges to face in the coming days. But I think that the whole thing that you were not here, most of the time you were in Pakistan covering the historical Bangladesh-Pakistan series, that we'll try to know later. But the whole episode, that how it turned out, I haven't seen this for a quite long time. Army coming into the stadium quite often. Board directors have been maligned here and there. It was not the same. It was not something that's very cricketing in the manner that, after all, we all know that cricket is a gentleman's game. But like before the show, you were saying that this cricket board has become a people's board. I think that is one thing that I must also admit, that it has turned out to be a cricket board, people's board now. Isam, before going to anything, I just wanted to know that you are a very privileged guy to have witnessed Bangladesh's historical win against Pakistan. Before going into the cricketing aspect of the game, when you went to Pakistan, and when the cricketers went to Pakistan, there was a lot of turmoil in Bangladesh. Back here, political scene it was a different political scene altogether. What I want to know is that, how did the player responded to cricket despite having such kind of insecurities back home?
That's a good question. I think, first of all, just imagine what we were going through on August 12th or 13th, a week after the Awami League government fell. And it was the same with the players. I think we were talking to Anamul Haq Bijoy in one of the press conferences before the A team left. And he had spoken about how he was up all night, guarding the house. I think everyone has gone through that, except Shakib, obviously.
He wasn't staying here.
He wasn't here. So I just felt that it was a combination of a lot of things. I think the fact that they couldn't practice here, they couldn't do their training in Mirpur, and they didn't have their head coach coming in because of security reasons. There was no clearance from the security forces that Chandika Hathurusinghe can come to the ground, or any other foreign coach can come to the ground. So when they moved to Lahore 3 days before the scheduled departure, what I found out was that this turmoil in at home, or the tragedy of the students' deaths, or the public who died in the student-led movement, that united the team in a big way. I think Bangladesh is known for its emotional reaction. Bangladesh cricket team is known for its emotional reactions. We have seen how they reacted after the team had left for the ICL.
Exactly.
Or after any big criticism.
Yeah, and after the team had left for ICL, they probably won the match against New Zealand.
First match. They won the first match.
Exactly.
And it was a new team. And I remember it was another huge crisis in Bangladesh cricket. This one was a national crisis. The turmoil was for everyone. Not just... And interestingly, cricketers are usually quite privileged, or they are from a certain strata of society where maybe they have more security at their home, or they have a little more cushion. But this time, no one was safe at that moment. But then they left for Pakistan. They had 3 sessions in Lahore. It was very hot. And I think Atif bhai, weather, opposition, circumstance. Also, we have to remember this team had a really bad time in the World Cup also. So they didn't have a lot of good memories from the cricket field. So all of this together, when I went to Rawalpindi, I think I did 3 days. I covered 3 trainings, so 18th, 19th, and 20th. And I usually don't write much on training, but in one of those days, I remember I was watching Mushfiq and Shakib bat.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so that appealed to me because Shakib doesn't bat in the nets, and Mushfiq is always batting in the nets, right? But the amount of time they took, the amount of patience they had for this team, for these training sessions, told me that they were really trying something hard. And then it was very much evident in the cricket that they played over 9 days. I would say 9 days because they didn't have one full day of cricket. But my initial concern was, I'm going to Pakistan. I may not have to do 2 days of reporting because Bangladesh doesn't do well. They don't do well in overseas test matches. But it was so different. And every day, every morning, when I was heading to the ground with one of my friends there, Berham Kazi, Def Mango, he does a lot of podcasts. He works with Jared. So we would be so excited on the way to the ground that, oh my God, what's going to happen today? Acha, do you think Bangladesh is going to declare today? Do you think Pakistan is going to do this? How much pressure would Pakistan feel? And this is one question that every journalist in Pakistan was asking themselves. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, apart from the cricket on the field, the atmosphere in that tour was so exciting. That is very rare for Bangladesh when they go abroad. It's usually very dull. We have covered test matches abroad together. It's like we dread certain days. So yeah, I thought as a journalist it was great because there was a lot to write.
Yeah, but another question is that Isam, I was just reading in one of your articles, and even Shanta was saying that there was no outside noise for them. Do you think that also had an impact on the team? Because when the last regime was there, every move they used to make from this office, they had to answer the queries. But now they were a bit independent in thinking or independent in decision making. I mean, it's about decision making. They were quite independent as far as decision making is concerned. If I talk about Shanto head coach, because he is not answering to anyone, he is not answerable to anyone, because when they were playing, the thing is that there was no Bangladesh cricket board. When he was playing, there was a cricket operations chairman who can ask him. So that also made an impact on the total game of the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
In your write-up, I saw Ravid Bhai saying similar something like that.
Yeah, Ravid Bhai said, and even before that, like
the manager Ravid Imam.
Yeah, Ravid Imam. He said that there was no interference or
exactly
there was no outside noise. Of course, I think couple of factors played, and also very interesting, Atif Bhai. During the first test match, what didn't happen? The board president, when the team went to the ground, there was one board president. By the time the test match started, there was another board president. I don't think it has ever happened in Bangladesh.
I don't think it will ever happen again.
Anywhere.
But it will happen in Pakistan.
Yeah, it could. It changes a lot. Then the board president said that he stands by the fact that he doesn't want the coach to continue, which was another big pressure. Sort of like it could have been a distraction.
Exactly.
Then came Shakib being accused in an FIR. That could have been even bigger, like a player being accused in the middle of a test match. What really changed, or what the change that I noticed was, of course, they paid attention to these things, but because there was no one calling them constantly or telling the players that, oh my God, what's happening? What are you doing about it? Or continuously asking them about their performances, there was that sense of independence that you just mentioned. I think this is the most cricket-centric tour in the last 15 years. There was no... And also the other factor that I wanted to mention to you was the amount of security there was for the Bangladesh team, or for both teams. Bangladesh team had a hard time getting out of the hotel as well. I mean, when they moved from Rawalpindi's cricket stadium to their hotel, it takes 5 minutes, but those 5 minutes means the whole of this highway shut down and everything. So the players didn't go anywhere. and there's not a lot of places to go for them in Pakistan except for maybe restaurants, and also they try to stick to their own. And players are getting used to. I think the pandemic also made them used to staying back in hotels and everything. So I felt that the lack of distraction was probably the biggest factor, and they just had to prove to the public that they are a good cricket team, which they did. So that was the only motivation for them, and I think Bangladesh, they've done a great job in Pakistan.
Yeah, and because of the way the Bangladesh played the game, because if you notice I mean that it to me it was quite a poetic justice that Sakib scored that winning run in the last Test match. And Mushfiq was at the other end because the way they have served this team for the last 16 years, it could have been that if Tamim had stayed, then it would have been the picture would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Or Mahmudullah, but Sakib and Mushfiq taking the winning runs, I felt very happy about it because seeing them achieving something. But apart from those little things, I think the way Bangladesh played the whole series, I mean that Isam, we have seen Bangladesh cricket for a long time, and I've seen Bangladesh cricket for a long time. We have seen Bangladesh scoring runs. We have seen Bangladesh scoring runs, but we have seen Bangladesh scoring runs in a pattern. They were knocking the balls, hitting the balls hard, and runs are coming. But this time, even the openers, I mean that on the first evening,
Those 12 overs.
That 12 overs, I think that set the tone for Bangladesh team. Do you agree with this?
Absolutely.
Because,
Yeah.
And the last thing is that, and furthermore, in the last Test match, the fourth innings, Bangladesh been batted, the Jackie's cameo.
The opposite.
Yes. Do you think that, this is the only growth I've seen from a test point of view. How do you...
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that you pointed out, that Zakir and Shadman played two very different kind of innings in two very different situations. Bangladesh's opening, apart from Tamim Iqbal, has been quite disastrous for a long time. So when your weakest point shows a lot of guts and tries to fight, like Zakir in that evening and that next morning, he batted for 83 or 84 minutes. Only 12 runs he scored, but
those 12 runs were very
yeah.
But that I mean that one of the coaches was saying me that you are coming into the bat with a night watchman, and you are coming into the bat with all the wickets in hand are two different things.
Very different things. I think Bangladesh had won those small battles with the ball and the bat continuously in this series, and I think that contributed to some bigger things like Mushfiq scoring 191 or all these performances. These are big incidents, but I think what stands out for me personally is when they fought back from 6 for 26. That is a miracle. That was a miracle. But again, I think as much as it was a miracle, it looks so normal. The way Litton, and first it was Mehdi who attacked, and Litton nowadays, he in this whole series, he waited till 50, 60 balls, and then he went after the bowlers. And when he goes after the bowling, it is a sight to see. He just cannot... he plays those shots.
Even the 18-run over, that also had an impact on the whole dressing room. That yes, these bowlers can be hit.
Atif bhai, Nasim Shah is one of the most respected cricketers in Pakistan right now. I think, and he's the sort of guy who, in Pakistan, I think all types of journalists or fans, they like the fact that he's a big-hearted guy. And in that moment, when he was hit for the first boundary straight down the ground, I got out of the press box. There's a balcony in front, and I would stand there almost all day. I loved watching it from there. A number of journalists came out when he hit that 6 through square leg and the ball got lost. We saw a kid running away with the ball. There's a mosque just next to that ground. And the whole atmosphere, it was like Nasim Shah had his hand on his head, hand on his chest. And the momentum just dropped for Pakistan.
Exactly. These are very significant part of the test match. You just mentioned that there are one small battle. This is one of the very small battles, but this is a huge part from psychological point of view.
I asked Mominul that evening about Litton playing that shot in Sylhet, remember? Exactly the same shot. Then Mominul explained to me that, look, the two shots were of two different deliveries. This was a half volley. That was a hard length delivery, good length delivery that he tried to force. mentality, Atif bhai, it matters so much for cricketers. Like, if it's a free atmosphere, everyone is talking cricket. That's how these guys grew up. They did not grow up in a political environment.
No.
They only got this political environment after they've come to the national team. So the moment they went back to their basics, you can see a guy like Nahid Rana flourishing with the ball, Hassan Mahmood flourishing. They're new guys. But when you see someone with the baggage of Liton Das, someone with the baggage of Mominul, or someone with so many question marks next to his name, Shakib, Mushfiq, they've all seen it. They've gone through a lot. Mushfiq is now playing his 19th year in international cricket. I've seen him make his debut in 2005. That was very refreshing to see that everyone was focused on cricket. And, the only regret that I have is that I heard that Rawalpindi has one of the best crowds in Pakistan. But initially, when Pakistan were doing well in that first test, they didn't turn up because, well, they're beating Bangladesh, right? 448 for 6, whatever. When Bangladesh started to play well, they got very disheartened.
They didn't turn up.
They did not turn up. So ultimately, I think only on the fourth evening, there was a bit of crowd on the first test match. Second test match, though, it was mostly empty. And I remember when Nahid Rana had that fourth day burst against those 3 wickets. 3 overs, 12 runs, 3 wickets. Even the High Commissioner's family didn't turn up. So there was no flag in the ground. So there was no Bangladesh flag in the ground, because if their family doesn't turn up, the other employees don't turn up. So you have 5 or 6 families with them. They were not there that morning. I was there on one side and I could see the team playing. And after a while, one of the fielders noticed that in the whole ground, and there was no crowd too. So inside that glass press box, there were journalists. There was a team there, 2 teams playing, and some security people, and completely empty. But I stood out because that was a great spell. I mean, one of the things that really touched me was Hassan Mahmood. When Rizwan was hit on the head, Hassan Mahmood walked from third man, and he was just teasing Shadman or something, or talking to Liton about the amount of hit that they're taking on the hand because of Nahid Rana's deliveries. Those were iconic moments for me, because I just felt that after a long time, Bangladesh has a fast bowler. Now we've already got a leg spinner. They now have a fast bowler. They're finally talking about cricket. How much have we talked about it all these years in the press box, that they're not focused on cricket? Now we know why they were not focused on cricket.
In fact, for me, one of the biggest thing about Nahid Rana was the way he got Babur out after setting him out. That was a delivery that, because even just when he got out, before that delivery was 2 deliveries back, Babur hit a back foot drive.
Yes.
Through the covers.
Yes.
So usually a guy like Nahid Rana usually should have, normally what happens is that they usually try to bounce him again, hit him hard. But the way he bowled up and got him in, that showed that these are young kids, but they're also getting matured.
Atif bhai, now they've already gone to India. There's a test match from the 19th in Chennai. They have a test match in Kanpur. 3 T20s. Realistically, how well can they play in India? This is Bangladesh first. I'll ask you about India later, but tell me about what Bangladesh can do.
I think Bangladesh, I would not say that Bangladesh will go there with the mindset of beating India right now. They didn't go there in Pakistan to beat Pakistan. But when you have such a result on your back, when you beat Pakistan, and that too on 2 margin, because I know one thing that I just mentioned one of your write-ups last line, that there were a lot of false dawns. You remember?
Yeah.
But this is not a dawn. It's a new Bangladesh, and there's a belief. This Bangladesh team now have the belief that they can come back. The point is that when they will play India, it will not be the same like they played Pakistan. From cricketing point of view, India is a much better side than Pakistan.
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. And what I feel is that Bangladesh only chance to do well is when they will play with the mindset that they don't have to prove anything. Because we were always talking about all this process and all these things and things like that. One thing I've understood about talking with a lot of coaches is that once you are very result oriented, is the moment you get stuck.
Right.
Once you go and play, because you were just mentioning one thing that they were gone to the basics. You just mentioned that there was a political environment before coming to play. Isam, a player, until he enjoys playing, is the moment he is going to fall back. For India, for the series against India, for Bangladesh, the most important thing is that they must enjoy this series. Rather than taking it, carrying the burden of expectation or what we will write, what media will say or what everything. If they can just enjoy the moment, they have the strength. Because as I understand now, and the Bangladesh have an attack, bowling attack, that can pick 20 wickets. It was the same case with in Pakistan, whether the batsman will click or not. It will be the same case in India. If Bangladeshi batters put up a good score, they will give a good run to the Indian side. But if Bangladeshi batsmen fail, because the last time when we went to India, you remember, and the pink test, pink ball test.
Oh my God.
And all those things. But let's leave it. Let's say it as a
it was a nightmare tour. I mean, it was just a nightmare tour, honestly.
Yeah. But the way India have the team India have given now, itself proves that they're not taking Bangladesh lightly.
Yeah. Tell me about what India will try to do. Give me that slight idea about India.
I think that India would try to do is that they will now try to come up into the Gautam Gambhir era. They will play a brand of cricket that they will project as the Gautam's cricket. Right. Because Gautam is, if you have known Gautam, he has tried a lot of things in his life. He is basically a gambler. He has tried a lot of things in his life. When it comes to cricket, he will also try a lot of things. When it comes to test, he will also try to have a lot of things.
It'll be interesting to see.
It's very interesting because he's trying for that soil pitch in Chennai. That itself is a
sort of an experiment.
Yeah. Because they will try. Because I want to know that I want to see that India have a tour in Australia. So whether they will be very speed oriented or whether they will go with pace is something that, because nowadays you cannot say that you'll make a pace oriented wicket against Bangladesh. Bangladesh has a solid pace attack.
They do have.
Yeah? Yep. And as far as speed is concerned, even I agree with Shanto that Sakib and Miraj is quite close to Ashwin and Jadeja.
Yes, no doubt.
So the bowling, the thing is that what kind of wicket they will prepare for Bangladesh. They know that they have a very solid batting attack, but they know that Bangladesh have the bowling attack have a good strength who can knock them out on their day.
Also, I think it'll come down to whether India thinks that their batting can handle
ninth run.
And whether they
they bought someone in the nets for just to see ninth run. These things. I mean, that means what does that imply? That ninth run is getting into their head.
Yeah. And honestly, I think a big difference between India and Pakistan will be the fact that India will plan better. India will not take Bangladesh lightly just because it's Bangladesh. Not because they beat Pakistan.
No.
Because India has plan A, B, C. Pakistan only had plan A. And they stuck to plan A.
Bangladesh is a challenge because if Bangladesh loses this match very badly, I won't get surprised. But if Bangladesh manages to play till the 5th day, every test match, I'll be a happy man.
Atif, recently I was in another podcast called 81 All Out. There, Kartikeya Date, who's a well-known analyst who writes for Cricinfo and who does, who knows his thing. He was telling me that he believes that Bangladesh's bowling attack that is going to India right now is one of the best to travel to India in a pretty long time. He says, we had Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins, and Lyon in the. So he actually said that an attack of an informed fast bowling attack and two great spinners to really.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Bangladesh is having the best bowling attack of their life. Since it's not just about now.
For a long time, yeah.
Since Bangladesh started their test journey, I don't think Bangladesh had at any point of time, Bangladesh had this kind of bowling attack.
I agree totally. And just to add, and I have a little question for you because they're also playing T20s in India. We will have another bowler in
Tanvim Sakib.
No, him, but I wanted to ask about Rishad Hussain.
Oh, yeah.
Because
He's going to BBL.
He's going to Big Bash. So I was in Pakistan on that day when my colleague said he's been picked by Ricky Ponting's team. I think
Hurricane.
Hobart Hurricanes. Big step for Rishad. He's going to play these, and whether the BCB is going to allow him to play.
That's a big question,
That's
but
a
I
big
think that
question.
it's a big step. It's going to be a big step for Rishad because he's a young guy. He's learning his trade, and what I don't want to see is that someone pushing him for everything. I think he's still got some problem with his bowling. I mean, the head positioning and all this thing, but he's working very hard on it, and he'll certainly manage to do it because right now, Rishad, what he's actually doing right now is that earlier I was talking with one of his coaches. Earlier he used to bowl a bit quicker. Now he also knows how to vary his pace.
Right.
That's a very big thing. When you play in BBL, he will be challenged against big players, challenged by big players, and in a very competitive environment. That will certainly help him if he plays.
And I also think that Australia is a great place for leg spinners.
Yeah,
I think the wicket has that bounce, and a leg spinner enjoys that bounce, and he's quite tall as well. So and he's a very high release point.
And there's Australia, and there's no Rashid Khan.
Yeah, so
That's
not a bad place to start. His T20 journey. Adib bhai, just to go into other things, we just go off the field a little. Of course, you followed it very up. When I was in Pakistan, you were here and you were covering what was happening in Dhaka. There was a change of board president on August the 21st because it was due. I think Nazmul Hasan Papun is not in Dhaka from what we understand, and his group of or his favored board directors, many of them are now also missing. So because of the regulations of an elected body, he had to resign from his position as a president, but not as a director, from what I understand. Farooq Ahmed, the former captain of Bangladesh, former chief selector, he has become the new president. Farooq Bhai has some great time in BCB, had a great phase in BCB. This is a new challenge. What do you make of Farooq Bhai and the challenges ahead for him?
I think that Farooq Bhai, what I know, what most people know, is a very straightforward guy. And he doesn't keep his opinion close to his heart. He speaks about what he thinks is right, what he thinks is wrong. So when he was chosen by the high-ups of the government for this post, he must have had his plans very well in advance, what he wants to do, what he don't want.
Okay, technically we can't say he was chosen.
No, technically we can't say he was chosen.
No, but actually he became a
NSC. He came from
He's
NSC.
an NSC.
So
of course he's a choice. Okay, yeah, you're right.
So he knows what he wants to do, what he wants to do. I think the biggest challenge for Farooq Bhai is how he handle the upcoming BPL and the Dhaka Premier League. Because whether he will be in the long run or not largely depends on whether there is cricket or not. He needs to manage the teams. He needs to give them the environment to come forward and see. And another thing is that he had a very bad relationship with Hadru Singh. There's no doubt about that. He had a very bad relationship. Yeah. But Isam, you can have your opinion when you are not in a position to dictate. But when you are in a position to dictate, now if Farooq Bhai comes and now say that, I don't know what his plan is. If Farooq Bhai right now wants to cut Hadra from his job, then it will backfire. It will backfire in the sense that probably, because we all know that Hadra had a very bad strained relationship with Farooq Bhai, and due to that, and the two-layered selection policy, he left the BCB job.
Yeah.
He was vocal that Hadra is not suited for this post. That is his opinion. He was vocal about it, and I also respect his opinion. But when it comes to the position of Bangladesh Cricket Board President, he cannot say that I stand by my own way. Do you agree with this? Because
I agree.
When you said those things in a podcast, in an interview in Not Out No Man, that is one thing. That no, I don't think the Hadra is good. Everything. I agree that he had his opinion. But when you are in a position of power and you are in a chair, you need to understand that Every move every move that he'll make will be scrutinized. Every steps that he will take against Hadura will also backfire. Because people will get 2 into 2, that is 4. Farooq and Hadura had a bad relationship. Now Farooq is
President
and
coach.
Hadura is gone.
Easy equation.
Easy. And the second thing is, Isam, I know a lot of people, you know a lot of people internationally. How many coaches are really interested to come to Bangladesh? Foreign coaches?
To be honest, that is the biggest challenge. You cannot find any good coach now. In any case, they don't want to do national teams.
No, or even if they want to do,
they don't want to
if Hatu is not completing his tenure, then what happens? It's that Steve Rhodes didn't complete his tenure, Domingo didn't complete his tenure,
Hatu didn't complete his last tenure,
and Hatu is not completing last tenure.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a place where the coach will come with a mindset that I can complete the tenure.
This is not a secure job.
This is a secure job. So what for will they come? And as far as local coaches are concerned, I have done an interview of Salahuddin. He just mentioned that even if they offer him, he cannot take it now because he has some other jobs to do.
Right.
And the second thing is that he wants, if Farooq have any intention to bring him, for that matter, then in that case, he will need time. He wants to see NCL and all these things so that he grow. You know Salahuddin very well. He doesn't want to look awful.
He will not take a rash decision.
He is not that kind of a guy. He's a very secure guy in his life. So he will not wait that, okay, top Hatura and I'll come in. He's not that kind of guy. He also mentioned that it is high time that Bangladesh Cricket Board understands the value of Hatura Singh and keeps him till Champions Trophy. On record, he said. So that when he comes, he knows that his job is secured. Because if he is replacing Hatura at the middle of this time, then he knows that what's... And another challenge for Farooq Bhai is that holding this BPL, which is very important for him, and more important is forming the board. How to run the board.
Is it possible?
I just want to ask you a question because you are very close to him.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. There's a lot of rumor going around with Tamim Iqbal coming into the board. Someone is saying that he'll come into the board as a director. Someone is saying he's coming to the board as an advisor. Where do you see Tamim's future in the board and how?
Yeah, I do see a future for him in the board. I think he's not the sort of person who wouldn't come to the board in this manner with Asif Mahmood, Shojib Bhuiya who's the sports advisor. When he visited the ground when they visited for the first time, Tamim was with him. That day I saw Tamim attending a meeting with the players and Farooq Bhai. Tamim will not enter any place where he's not welcomed. So I think there is a signal from other sides as well that he is welcomed. And from what we have spoken about in the last 10-15 years, and from what I know of him, Tamim Iqbal is someone who deeply cares about Bangladesh cricket. He is someone who at any given opportunity will do something for the players. He has proven that. There's no doubt about that. Well, as a Bangladesh...
But I want to ask you another question.
Sure.
When we met Farooq Bhai on the last meeting, and the following day, there were reports. On the day, and when he met Farooq Bhai, on the following day, I had also reported that they wanted to make pay cut for the players.
BPL pay cuts.
But there's also reported, it has been reported in a leading daily that players are not happy with him. Do you think that these things, how to see this? Because players are not happy with him because some of the players, according to that report, is saying that on what basis he said that he wants to make pay cut. I think there's a confusion around it. I think the pay cut will be made only for the senior players, only for the Bangladesh top-notch 30 players. It will not be the same for you. Do you feel the same way or not?
I think you're right. And without knowing...
Pay cut.
I understand, from the BPL, right?
Yeah, BPL without pay. I don't think, Isam, you know a lot of franchises. I know one or two franchises very well. I'm very close with them. So without pay cut, these people can run under this socio-economic condition.
Agree with that. But also, I want to make a point here. I think the moment you give these franchises a chance to have a pay cut, that pay will not rise for a long time. That is a big problem.
No, they have mentioned that this is for only 1 year.
One season. Okay. And if it's only for the top bracket of cricketers, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
If they're willing to take that cut, I think if Mushfiq, Tamim, Riyad, and all these senior guys, and now you have a lot of senior guys. You have Liton, who's considered a senior. Shommo is there. Taskin is there, Taijul is there. There's a lot of senior guys. Mehdi is there. If they are prepared to take that cut, I think other cricketers won't have to go through that because they're not paid as much as these guys are going to be paid. Of course, there can be opinion, but as I was saying, I think Tamim is one guy who is approachable for any cricketer. He, at the background of being a captain, within that backdrop, he has done a lot for cricketers. I think he'll be a good person to have as a board director. I think we need strong board directors. Although we haven't seen great things from
Cricketers being administrators.
former cricketers being administrators. But I think Tamim comes from a different generation. He has seen things happen. He has seen results, great results in front of him. He has created great things for Bangladesh cricket. So I think his standard will be much higher. And I am a firm believer that just like him as an opener or a Bangladesh captain, he will go all out and do what he can as a board director, whichever department he gets. It'll be interesting to see which one he takes. The obvious one is obviously cricket operations, but why not cricket development? Because the thing is, he's
to be honest, I must admit that this whole Bangladesh Tigers program came from his mind.
Just imagine. And
You remember? I also remember that. Yeah, we can have opinions, but this Bangladesh Tigers program was a Tamim venture.
Yeah.
Initially, later it was developed and it was
Made into a separate department.
all this, but it was his venture. So why not? And why only cricket operations? If it's good,
Development is there. There's a lot of other places where you can do. Atif bhai, my final question to you today will be: we have talked about all the difficulties for BCB coming up. Do you see it getting worse for them in the next few months?
it can get worse. It can get worse unless BCB knows that it's high time. I mean, Isam, one of the things is that all the division and district boards has been dissolved.
Okay.
At this moment.
Scary.
This government has dissolved it.
Scary news for cricket.
Yeah. So, all these councillors, I'm not sure, all this councillorship will be dissolved because when the organization is dissolved, how can the councillor?
True.
Now, all these things can be, all these district and divisional boards have been asked that they will form a committee. From this committee, they will submit a name to Farooq Bhai and all the unit cricket. And for that unit cricket organization. I think BCB's biggest challenge for this, for them to get more is that the report of the fine audit committee. Farooq Bhai has stated that he will form a new audit committee. Whether that audit committee finds any financial irregularities is something that BCB need to work on.
And be honest about it.
Yeah, of course, because that need to be honest. Because because these guys, all these things will be scrutinized. It's not unlike the past. How many government when nothing was, they were not accountable for anything.
Right.
This financial thing will be here. And another thing is that how they will get more directors in. Because I understand that Farooq Bhai has a plan to break. Farooq Bhai is talking with a lot of guys. Lot of people he's talking with, a lot of people, he's taking a lot of people's interview. It's not interview, he's just trying to know their intentions. What is their intention about it? He's assuring them that you can come over to the board and
work with us.
And things like that. Because I don't think that all the board directors that is right now here will stay after 2 months.
Okay.
Khalid Mahmood Shujan's resignation is a big signal for everyone that
it's time to go.
It's time to go.
Got it.
So, with the new setup, Farooq Bhai will also have to will need some old directors.
Right.
So his challenges will be as big as Bangladesh challenges in India.
On that note, we will conclude our fourth episode of Daily Cricket Presents Cricktalk. From me, Mohammed Isam, and from Atif Azam, it's goodbye to you all.
Thank you.